Welcome back, guys, to another episode, the final episode of 2020 of RotoX Fantasy. My name is Donnie, and I just want to thank you guys so much for being here. This will not be the last video on the YouTube this year, but this will be our finale as far as fantasy goes. So let's get right into it. I just want to let you know ahead of time, this is going to be kind of another low editing one. I'm a little short on time here, but I am feeling mentally, physically, spiritually so much better. So we'll get right into it. Let's review last week's race before I dive into my picks for you guys for Paula, as well as FFL help, and at the end I'll even tell you what my team looks like as of the recording of this video. The number of people that set their lineup for round 8 were 4,797 of them, down just 67 from the week before, which I think is a pretty acceptable fall off. Of those, 3,272 set their lineup were in the championship league, that paid league where prizes are eligible. As far as the riders go, we had a rough weekend with All-Stars, as only 6 of the 16, about 38% of them, managed to score that perfect 50 points, so a lot of guys missed out there. Double points were actually very generous though. Literally half of the riders in the main scored double points. So if you didn't, like one of my guys, what are you even doing, man? 32 out of 64 succeeded there. The perfect team on the weekend took home 642 points, only down 10 from last week. That's not even including FFLs, which were easier than ever this weekend. If you nailed that FFLs, you could have had 672 points. Speaking of the FFLs, how easy were they? Well, 2,700 people correctly guessed AC as the FFL, and 2,185 guessed either Justin Cooper or Shane McElrath. These are by far the highest numbers, and I imagine that most of those people even had an overlap and picked on both. The most popular team, if you would have just picked the very logical ones, the options that everybody's taken, 580 points for you. That is a season high, I believe. That is the highest of the season for popular writers. So this is just a good indicator of don't always zig when everybody else is zagging. They're popular for a reason. I was just under that. I clocked in at 545. Unfortunately, I took Derek Drake. He was on my early team, and I know I saw Steve tweet that he wasn't feeling up for it, but honestly, my team other than him looked great, and I just sent it. I was going to put Mitchell Falk on. I even asked my wife, I was like, hey, I just yelled at her, Derek Drake or Mitchell Falk, and she said Derek Drake, so I'm totally going to blame it on her. The top roto players of the week were DM912, who scored 648, massive score for him. He also is leading the league before the week came in, and his lead is even bigger. He now has 3,932 points in the outdoor series. For the total championship league, the week winner was El Lurcho102. And the season so far belongs to F150 Motocrosser, who also led last year. They have 3,951 points. But our RotoX League DM912 is only 19 points behind, so hopefully he can pull through there. We have no all-star changes going into the final round, so nothing of note there. But we do have a long list of ins and outs, and they are all outs, by the way. Guys that are missing, 250 All-Stars. RJ Hampshire, Cameron McAdoo, gone. Cross them off your list. Non-All-Stars, another big list. Ty Masterpole is not going to be racing. He has missed the last 2 rounds. He will not return. Derek Drake, not going to be lining up. Mason Gonzalez, not in. And then Robertson and Jalik Swoll, also not in. The entire 250 Rockstar squad is wiped. So that's really going to shake up some picks here, because we have 2 perennial top 10 guys gone. Whole Shot Master, gone. And then 4 other guys that usually run in the teens. So we're going to have some big scores. There are a lot of good picks going to be in the 250 class this weekend. For the 450s, Blake Baggett is your only All-Star that is out. He is gone. Do not have him on your team. Confirmed, by the way. These are all confirmed outs. There could be other people that are not going to show up. These are the only ones I definitely know. Blake Baggett out. John Short out. Benny Bloss will not be racing. That was literally something I found out right before I recorded this video. He will be doing a money race elsewhere. And 2 guys to keep your eye on, Joey Savacci and Justin Barcia, are both going to be gate drop decisions. So I would definitely remove both of them from your team and wait, but I probably would stay clear from either of them. I would definitely stay away from Barcia, because Savacci does have some value here if he does line up and can put together some good finishes. Before we get to the 5 riders that I want you to look at, never forget to follow RotoX Fantasy on Twitter and Instagram so that you get those free cheat sheets, up-to-the-minute news and reporting as we go along. I even, do some stats and some memes and things as the races are going on. But if you want to go even one step further, the Patreon, if you want to join, there's a link in the description below. For just $5, you can join the Patreon. That is not you buying a service. That is you supporting me as a creator, which helps me put more time into these videos. But in exchange for you doing so, we have a podcast every week before the races that go over every single, and break down every single rider that is pickable. We also have an enhanced cheat sheet, which has way more stats than the normal version has, and it's super useful. The guys that have that so far have been loving it. But let's get right into the riders. First guy I have for you is your 250 All-Star. It's Alex Martin. Not a sexy pick here, but with Cameron McAdoo and RJ Hampshire out, Martin is your highest handicap available at a 6. Which means he just needs top 7 for double points. Guess what? He has done that 75% of the time this season. 12 out of his 16 motos. What's even better is, of all of his motos, the 2 guys that are missing have beat him a grand total of 12 times. You take those guys out and that percentage would be even higher. His average finish this year is 6.4. A-Mart is my guy. I think Jeremy Martin is also a good call here if you can't pick A-Mart, as Martin definitely has something to prove. He just needs to go out and go 1-1 and hope something happens to Dylan. A 250 rider that I want you to stay far, far away from is Hunter Lawrence. Hunter is now a -1. We all know Hunter's speed. We know he can lead races. He's won races, but this has just not been his year. Only 31% of his mains have been in the top 9, and 25% of them have been DNFs, so I am definitely out on Hunter Lawrence. Even if he repeats his 5-4 finish from last weekend, that would still only bring you back 58 points, and that is not nearly enough points for me for a guy that has a negative that could very well fall out of double points. A low handicap guy that I do want you to take a look at in the 250 class is Brandon Hartranft. This is going to be your week to pick him. He's a 3, and with so many injuries around his area cleared out, he should be good. We all know Brandon's a top 10 guy. He just has had a lot of bad luck this year, both in Supercross and in outdoors, but 69% of his finishes were in the top 13. His average finishes inside the top 13. He has had a podium in a moto, and most importantly, 50% of his finishes were in the top 10. So again, with that 3 handicap, if he could go, say, 7-7, 7-8, like, you're going to be scoring some pretty big points, and he's got a little bit of a ceiling buffer there with that 3 handicap. Moving on to your 450 riders, I have Chase Sexton as mine penciled in, but if you can't take Chase, I think Christian Craig is your alternate option. Sexton is my first choice, though. He's been in the top 6, 69% of the motos this year. Nice. His average finish is 6.4, and obviously his best finish is second. His average finish in the last 5 motos is 3.8. So Chase has been super consistent as the series winds down. The last and final rider I want you to look at, this is going to be your high handicap hero of the week, is Tyler Bowers, the Bear, number 34. Did you know that he has a 13 handicap, which means he needs to get 23rd or better to score double points? Well, he has done that 81% of motos this season. That is a crazy high number. His average finish is 21.8, so he's right within that range, and he has finished as high as 14th. If you look at his last 4 moto scores, he's actually averaging a 17th place finish. So, and again, with Bloss out, Short out, Baggett out, and Savatgy and Barcia could both miss, Bowers could very well find himself fighting for a top 15, and that's going to be major points for you as well as for himself, as I know that he's the type of guy that really wants to get as low of a national number as he can. Looking at your FFLs, there's really no choice here. It's MC and Cerullo, dude. AC has scored, I believe, the last 8 FFLs. Nobody else can even compete. It's AC or bust. I'm taking AC. At this point, I think you're just throwing points away if you don't take it, because so many people are taking the 450 FFL and they're picking AC that even if you're wrong, so is everybody else. Great pick there. For the 250s, Justin Cooper finally got one, but I'm sticking with Shane McElrath. He has 6 FFLs in 8 rounds. I like the data here. Sure, Cooper could totally get one, but I don't think Cooper gets both, and I don't think Ferrandis gets them either. And let's be honest, there's really nobody else that's fighting for him with Ty Masterpool out. My way too early team looks something like this. I have Alex Martin as my 250 All-Star for all the reasons we already talked about before, as well as Brandon Hartranft anchoring that team. I'm also going to have Dylan Schwartz at an 8 here. Dylan has an average finish inside the top 15. I thought that he might have just got a little bit lucky, had a little bit of advantage racing Loretta when Loretta was around, but then he came back out last weekend and crushed it, so Dylan at an 8. I also have Mitchell Falk at a 9. Obviously, after running that perfect 100 last weekend, he took a big hit to his handicap. I don't definitely know Mitchell's riding because he is not listed on the official things that I've seen, but if he is on my team for sure. As far as 450s go, I have Christian Craig because unfortunately I took Chase Sexton last week and I cannot have him this week. I also have Tyler Bowers as the high handicap here for the reasons we talked about before. Brock Tickle at a 3, again, with Baggett and Bloss definitely out and potentially Savatgy and Barcia. I think Tickle could really benefit there and finish well inside the top 10. And to round out my team, I have Isaac Teasdale. This is definitely my weaker pick, but he does have an average finish about 16th. So I'm banking on those other guys guys missing that he could get a little bit of a bump up into that top 15 range. FFLs, I got AC and Shane for reasons we talked about before, and I'm going to ride them straight to the bank. Since this is the final video of the season, I just want to give a special shout out to all of the patrons that RotoX has going into the off season. I want to thank each one of you guys individually: Chad Huber, Travis Marks, Austin Tiller, Kathy Hawaii, Jason Sargent, Dane Evans, Three Smoke, Spin T, DJ Bogart, Depran, Ian Craig, Roost Expose or Roost Expose, Cora Leach, and Jeff Guys. Thank you guys so much for being here and supporting the channel. You guys don't know how much that means to me that somebody would really do this. This will be the last time that you're going to hear from me in video form for just a little bit, but I do have some things planned in the coming soon, so make sure to check Twitter, Instagram, all of those things to be in the know. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already, and click the little bell if you want to get notifications sent straight to it. I'm really bummed to see the season end, but I'm also really excited to get started on some of the off-season projects, and I hope you guys will be too. So until next time, have a good luck this weekend. I'll see you guys on Twitter. Take care, guys.